8 o'clock. We'll call the June 14th Transit Committee meeting to order. Roll call. We have everyone here except for John Mann, plus a few others. Approval of minutes for the May 10th. Second. Motion made second. Approve minutes. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Passes. Any public comment? None for me. Staff reports. Austin.
Agenda. Today, talking about ridership, daily run productivity being a few months in, the community afternoon revision results, adding that last loop 4 to 5. We're a few weeks into that now. All electric bus update, financials, 2024 preliminary budget, quick overview, not much change. Department outreach and team building. Any questions? Ridership, doorstop and Red Cedar ridership stayed pretty steady from 520 in April to 585 in May, up 12.5% on the month, but also there was 3 more service days in May, putting the ridership per day actually at 1 above. So first May at 26 versus 25, but staying steady there. Community ridership decreased, obviously with stuff going out around the 10th of May, but it decreased a lot less than I would have initially anticipated. Only down 25%. Looking at it per day, 58 per day in April, only down to 43 a day in May. That was great to see. South route ridership decreased 15,705 in April to 4,600 in May, but only down 26% between the different service days. 785 in April per day, only down to 579, only down about 26% as well. So with it being mostly finals during the first weeks in May, it was good to see that ridership only decrease a little bit. Okay, we'll go through this from left to right. Looking at the past 3 months, year by year, we're sitting for May, the best May versus every previous year by at least a couple hundred to some of the best years in 2019, 2017. We beat that out, and then the Stout PM, we just about doubled ridership versus previous years, which is great to see. Community this month, this was the best number to see, is that ridership doubling any other year before in the month of May. And then Community Saturday, we ended that after the second week when school Stout was out. That was the last Saturday that we ran it, but you'll see that was great. With how we've changed the way that we do doorstop in Red Cedar with breaks when each bus starts, instead of comparing apples to oranges, I put these together. So it's actually by the month, pairing the routes together to actually get the total. And sitting at 581, we were right in the middle of every other year. Not the best, not the worst, about 4 years on each side of where we're at, 581. That's at 774, and then way down to 233 on some of our worst years on that. But good to see that maintaining, if not increasing by a bit. And then now Ecolane actually gave us the feature to run these two routes as one in our reporting. So back in April, we wanted to hit that over 2 threshold trips per hour. We did in April, and then we increased it by another 10 or so in May for those 2 routes. Getting more people on the bus at once. Okay. We voted on, or we put this in place last month, adding that 4 to 5 p.m. loop, ending at the UW Library at 5 o'clock. And per day, we right away, right out of the gate when we started that route, that next Tuesday, 4 riders, and it goes by the day. Already 24 riders on this route in the first few weeks that we put it in. So great to see. A lot of times you implement a change and you can't see results for months or even into the next year. Electric bus update. This email came in yesterday, so it's good to get this before this meeting happened. From the manufacturer, they've selected their Buy America battery supplier. NDA was signed. Putting together a technical solution to that, and they'll start on design in about 2 weeks for the alternate test schedule, and then production schedule status. Components for that are being received for the new Gen 4 prototype, better batteries. And timeline-wise, they still have it on schedule for Q1 of 24, which they discussed with us here a couple weeks ago. So good that they're stating that and not just answering our questions asked. So 2023 financials, I kept April on here just to see. We were a bit shy from even last month, but I said that when these summer months come and payroll goes way down, go back to tipping the other side of the scale. And through May, we did with about 2,500 on the other side. So back to 1,000 to net zero, and nothing else has changed. No big bus repairs or anything like that we've had this last month. So, and we're doing a little bit better on our fuel bill with 3 routes instead of 5 right now. So we'll take the savings and put it in the pocket. 2024 preliminary budget. We'll going through this more in the next few months when voting has to happen on it, but not much has changed on that. We matched our 8521 to what we received in 2023. The proposal that'll go to the city for the 10% increase to that subsidy. The ridership agreement with Stout is matched to what we have, and then this is pretty conservative, I think, going to 43,000 for the passenger fares, going up a little over 3.75%. Especially if we go back to the fare system on the community route. Talk about that more in the next meeting and put it into effect around Labor Day. Even if we lose 50% ridership, we should be gaining about 6,000 on that route for income. So I think that's a pretty good number, if not even a little conservative. So that makes stuff match up well. Over here, not much has changed. Stuff has moved around a little bit. The IT costs moved up. Brought repair and maintain motor vehicles down a little bit to make up that fuel, bringing that up a little bit. If those electric buses arrive, timeline that they say. If we beat that 30,000, that'll be it's good to be able to potentially put that back into repair and maintain coming years. But other than that, everything is pretty straightforward.
When you talk about the accounting and auditing service, what was, I understand even with your comment, like it really went up.
That anything that's in white is locked by finance. This is just our allocation of the total cost that we get charged from the auditors. But this line item has been in here for a few years. It's never been used. So that was added up there that but there's been a few line items in here that for a couple of years I was waiting to see if something came into them. Then more years that goes by that nothing happened. I didn't want to change things too quick.
No.
But it's pretty safe to move that, especially when that cost went up, $3,000. So
the auditors are telling you that of their total bill, they figure that 7.5% is what they spend time doing their audit. Or transfer audit.
Sarah's in this meeting too, if she wants
No,
to
that's okay.
speak
I
to
mean,
that.
I'm just trying to, we have no idea if that's
I think
true.
we should be less. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
No.
Austin, would you like me to speak to that? This is
sounds
Sarah.
good. That sounds good.
Yeah, Beata and I worked on the cost allocation, that 7.5%. Austin has some complex reporting that goes to the state, being with the grant that he shares with 8521 with Human Services. He also gets 8520 state funds, and those are looked at by the auditors. So it's the time that the auditors spend reconciling the accounts that Austin uses for transit is the percentage we came up with right now. Again, just a budget. It could change after a while. This year being 2023, we are with new auditors for 2022. So we'll see how that goes in 2024 for this. Kerber Rose is our new auditors. So it's all new to us what their distribution of time will be.
So
Thank
it's
you.
kind of nice to have Sarah on the speed dial.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. A lot of that's over my head. So, thank you. Any questions on this?
I have a question about the finance page. I noticed that the year-to-date actual is like for the public charges revenue, 3,000. What is the difference between that and the total projected? Where does that 220,000 revenue show up to get to that end result at the end of the year?
A lot of it is,
Or is that month to date and not year to date?
that's year to date, but unless I plug in expected, this is where the expected comes in.
Yeah.
But this is what's been total brought in to the treasurer's office from us so far. But a lot of we get paid
Are we still getting?
biannually or quarterly
Okay.
from
Okay.
WisDOT and these other agencies. We get paid twice a year from Stout. So that's where it allocates it up on the right side, but not on what we've been paid so far. So this is what we've brought in from ridership so far this year, as well as from the city. City pays us right away. They're the first to pay us. Thank you. They pay us before the quarter, which is
Okay.
really nice. But for it takes a little while on state payment.
Aaron, do you know when that is?
Yeah, I mean, what it's scheduled to be and what it is, it's not more complicated because after the intergovernment agency transfer, and so, seems like it's always a few layers we'll see, but the check doesn't bounce. It does get
Usual.
June,
June?
and December.
December, yes.
I sent him an invoice.
So depending on what you're looking at the time of year, it can look really horrendous. Because, payments coming.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to know.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
No,
how do we get there by the end of the
no,
year?
try to focus on the last column.
I got it.
Uh,
I was.
It's, yes. But, I mean, only a few weeks ago, we got paid for quarters 3 and 4 for 23 from WISDOT.
Oh,
Sorry, for 22.
22, yeah.
And
Okay.
the audit's mostly done.
Yeah.
But I allocated for
Okay.
those payments coming in, and it was there, but it was.
Okay.
And those reports were finalized and sent into them around January.
Okay.
So,
All right. Thank you.
yeah, but they're slowly getting a little quicker, but it's sometimes hard to speak to that. Department outreach. We were able to help out a few different departments this last month. Fun to be able to say yes and get us involved. Highway department needed to get 76 of their guys to Stout for
Highway safety days.
and it Stout hosted, instead of the highway department just doing their training in-house here. Stout hosted many of the surrounding counties and municipalities, and we shuttled their guys.
300 some people.
Yeah.
A lot of trucks.
We helped them out there, and we're able to get some doorstop income from it too. So it was a win-win there. And then we did a mini tour for the county board members to all the different departments. Andrew put together a tour of the different facilities that the county has, and we shuttled about 9 or 10 county board members around 3 to 5 last Wednesday, Tuesday, the different buildings around here. We were able to speak a little bit to the riders that we had, and some are on this transit commission, but some weren't, and some of that was new information to them. So that was nice. Team building. It was, we try to get together every couple months out of the office, and we have a bunch of Twins fans and a bunch of Brewers fans on the team at transit. So together a little quote: you lose, you smile, and you come back the next day. You win, you smile, and you come back the next day. Perfect for us there. It was a great game last night to watch. We did a little icebreaker going out on the pontoon beforehand to smooth it over if there was any animosity between Brewers and Twins fans. But did that, and we grilled out, and just doing it in that kind of environment and atmosphere. People bring up just ideas and stuff about work, in another setting too. So it's nice, and brainstormed a little bit, and vented, and ate brats and burgers, and had a good time. And then I was just hoping the game didn't go into extra innings because of prepping for this meeting today. So, and Twins had a walk-off.
Good game till the
Yeah.
last pitch.
Any questions?
So how are you set up for like drivers when the fall? Cause I hear
We're-
like on Oak Clear bus companies behind their advertising right now, to try to get people like for next fall already.
We don't have enough hours for the group we got right now, unless people are taking days off during the summer. So, which,
So it's kind of hard to keep help when you, if they want full-time work, you can't give it.
yeah, it's, but we're getting creative with it, and making it work with watching the budget as well. But we already have, a person that wants to start with us that just got his CDL and, wants to start whenever we have an opening and are able to post it, get those applications in. I said around July 1st, we'd open it up, and that way whoever we hire can get onboarded beginning of August, and we hit the ground running. But after, we haven't lost anybody, and so one more full-time person will be about perfect for us. So we're sitting good. My operations supervisor, John, he's nearing wanting to retire. He's pretty low on his hours when we don't need him during the summer, which helps save us money as well as keep him around. But he wants to fully retire probably before the fall. So that is one position. It's kind of a niche position with what it brings to the table and needs for that, between IT background and operations, mechanic, CDL. It'll be a tough one to fill his shoes, but that's one thing that we are gonna. But other than that, we're sitting good for drivers. Fortunate on that because a lot of companies aren't.
Anything else? Thanks, Austin. Next meeting is July 12th. That's June 12th.
You missed that one.
All right, that's next meeting. All right, sounds good. Meeting's adjourned. Page 27, we'll call the Highway June 14th committee meeting to get order. Roll call. We present. Approval of minutes for the May 10th.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Motion been made second. Approve the minutes for the May 10th. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Public comment? Any?
No.
On six.
We'll go with the staff report here. Some of the agenda items we'll be discussing today are highway shop operations, engineering project updates, equipment updates, ATV, UTV signing update, the 2022 highway annual report, and then wrap it up with highway financials. We'll go through the field operations first. Brent is here. He can kind of just explain what daily operations look like currently for our field staff.
Well, today we are paving up on County Road B, flying around today to get both sides done. Hoping to finish paving all the driveways, stuff like that, the final map of the driveways early next week, Monday or Tuesday. And then we'll probably shoulder that a couple weeks later. We'll be starting on County Road Z next week, down by South Downsville. Probably Dave will go down there on Monday, and then probably Tuesday we're gonna try to maybe start digging culverts and stuff like that. We have got most of our, pretty much all our track filling done. Got a little, about a day on the state to do. And we might have picked up some more town jobs to do. So wait to hear on that. I know we're waiting a little bit on the track phone machine right now, but we don't have guys to do that, because every single guy's saving except for about 3 days. So that takes a lot of people when we gotta go that far away. We got 20 trucks running. So,
So is that all your trucks? We have to,
all our trucks.
you don't have to bring any more?
We have 21 trucks that are available between tries and quads at the hall. We have 20 of them going today. Every now and then, if we get way up there and we can't keep up with the plant, we have gotten a couple things to do. They're always more to help out.
Who takes care of the approaches in the driveways just off the blacktop? I see a lot of them they got new cement or going to. You guys do that?
We did up to 10 feet.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I was just wondering.
Whatever we pulled out, some was blacktop, some was concrete.
Mm-hmm.
We did a lot of concrete.
Okay.
Put a lot of concrete back there.
I see them, they had them all
Yep.
formed up there one night I went.
Yeah, they did a really good job on it. We've got a lot of talented concrete guys.
Yeah, and the reason for that is so we're not, if somebody puts gravel behind the curb, we don't want gravel coming out onto the roadway.
Sure.
So we always put an asphalt or a concrete approach behind.
I was just wondering. Didn't realize you'd do, concrete like that.
They'll spray patching, we've got plenty of that to do. Still trying to figure a few things out on that. Been a struggle. Working on. Yeah. A lot of. We've done a thing and. We found it last. Do.
The concrete portion? I'll get into that later.
The other question I would have is, I was seeing where the manure haulers are blocking off with one lane. And that's where they dump their manure from the semis into the electric collection. Can they legally shut one lane down, or they have to get your permission or your permission?
They usually call and ask. I guess I don't know if you've gotten any lately. I have not.
I have not received a phone call.
I haven't either.
This was done maybe a month ago. Just saw the full factor. They just block one lane, that's where the semis unload,
And typically I won't allow it just because of the safety issue. We will require them to be off the road, in a field entrance or something, not restricting the road.
And if they are, they need to have flags.
They had flags.
They,
They were legal, but I was curious if they gotta ask you first, or
They're
if they
supposed to.
do that, they gotta have flags.
Was that on M, Gary?
in the old Schindler property.
Yep.
But then they just drove in the field and turn around, so I don't know why they couldn't have rode in the field.
Yeah.
rain.
Well, if you go out and wash your truck, you didn't know it.
We were telling all the farmers to cut their hay, so they cut their hay
Yeah,
in rain.
that didn't work at all.
At least we got a little left,
You did
not enough.
You did?
As far as the equipment, we've had some issues with that. Swing isn't always. Working one day. That's one year. That's the difficulty with having, it doesn't stay broken. It's hard to fix something when. A lot of it. A lot of other. Need to get. Working on it. We don't wanna replace that. You see the dollar signs. Yeah, they're very expensive. Oldest one doesn't, it's not computer.
Oh,
One system where you pair the one that's Illinois, the pair the like miles of wires and. Yesterday, picked up the mower. He'll let you. Steam loader. They get. Only had that machine. 1435. You'd have to take another picture. That brought 18. Over to one. Got rid of some. And total overall. Did look good. Curiosity. Fuel used last year. And fuel that we used in 2022, 49. This year, we're ready. About 15,000 gallons. Taking that into consideration. Not too bad. A lot of fuel. About 275. Order the. I don't remember the exact figure. Which isn't bad either, because some years we have bad winter. When we used to use just like the carbide blade, instead of the rubber blade, I think years 50, quite a while. Oh, when the price is cheap. So yeah, other than that, what all I have, the guys worked hard and got all the trucks switched over, the tricycle, all of it. Before the. We helped out.
You take off the equipment, so they fall and stuff. You got someplace inside the store or just outside?
We don't have enough.
So is that on your 5-year plan?
My plan is to try to add on to this place.
Within 5 years, huh?
Ooh, I'm hoping. It would be nice.
Yep.
it comes time for like fading,
Correct.
if it looks nice and the paint's not all faded, it pays
So
for
it
it.
is.
Out of it. And
I'm kinda like impressed that 21 trucks, you got 20 that are going right now full time. It's really good.
that one spare.
You
Yeah.
never know. There's still some value to the old tires that aren't good enough for the trucks, but yet they might be good enough for ag equipment. Is there,
You know, they don't use a lot of ones other than maybe the front.
okay,
But there really isn't a lot. The rear tires. Generally, we only recap. Doing
Where do you have that done?
Or built does.
Mower built. Okay.
We do deal with pumps.
Okay.
Pumps does a lot of. You're welcome to come back.
not bad at all.
You know, so are they over 75,
Yeah,
so you gotta run def in them?
right at 100.
Oh, they are? Mhm. Mhm.
We've tried them, we've had to
Yeah,
get into that work, how we're working down. Especially like if you're. And pushing dirt.
sure,
Like,
I understand.
those roads, if I were- If it's them. I think just people. But as of right now, I'm only.
So the town road, the first one paved then this year?
You wanna go and. Now you. We are right.
You have interest at all?
Really? Is that for truck driving? Or
Just for general.
general?
Yeah, them 18 already had their CDL. All of them. They did. Oh, I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Huh.
They usually don't come.
I believe there was 22 total, 18 came through the meter.
Okay.
That's
Nice.
I thought there was.
I don't know, Brent was gonna figure that out today. We gotta get a plaque.
It's over 20.
Yeah, it's
It's over.
But his last day is next week, Thursday.
And see him go.
Monday.
Great last name, right?
Pretty cool.
Well, you don't have
Get it done.
Well, I guess we'll lead into our engineering and project updates. I guess obviously County Road V, we installed some curb and gutter, pulverized, we're paving it today. We should have that finished hopefully by probably next week, Monday. If everything goes well with the driveways and side roads and everything.
So where does the blacktop come from? Down here?
Menominee,
That is a long ways up there, isn't it?
closest plant to it, fortunately, but yeah, it's a
So
hike.
how warm does the blacktop have to be to really work good? You have the cover to kind of keep the heat in a little bit or not?
Yes, so we have covers on our trucks. They're tarps. I mean,
It still keeps the,
yeah. And I would say this time of year, obviously, it holds its heat a lot better. Typically, whatever, 45 minutes up and 45 minutes back, about an hour and a half rotation. But the more trucks we can get on, the better. The quicker it goes. We're not sitting and waiting. But B will be basically, we'll have to do some shouldering and pavement markings yet to complete it. We will let the mix sit for probably a week or two before we actually get on it to do the shouldering. Otherwise, we'll start tearing the road up when it's fresh like that. So we're anticipating probably opening, I don't foresee June being more like second week in July, probably, to open the road up to traffic. Like Brent mentioned, our County Road Z project from C to 90th will be starting next week, the 19th. We anticipate about a 3-month project down there. Hopefully, maybe get that done sooner than that, because we do have our Q&W project yet to complete as well.
Just found out there's a wedding on that project in August.
We want it done before that. But I guess we're not gonna go run our schedule around a wedding. But
I know.
unfortunately, we might have a gravel road to deal with. But yeah, we got a pretty significant amount of work. Obviously, that road is very deteriorated. That was the one that we took our grand tour on and kind of showed everybody.
So I guess doing that like in sections then? You done a section last year on it.
Yeah, so it's gonna be done in 3 phases. This is phase 2.
Okay.
So next year we are gonna finish the entire section of Z to O'Galley, is the intent. Just the County Road B project update from 1229 to Badger Drive. The design consultants, they continue to work with the utility contractors, to finish up their paperwork, to relocate all the utilities that need to be relocated prior to construction. So there is a number of utilities that need to be relocated, electrical, fiber, gas, you name it. So that work will have to be completed prior to the project. So I would anticipate this late summer, early fall, for a lot of that work to be completed. We are working with the design consultants and the DOT regarding the rail project crossing just north of Badger Drive. Like I said, there's a lot of red tape to jump through on that with utility permits that have to go to the Union Pacific for approval, because we do have to do some utility crossings of the railroad for street lighting and the traffic signals. There's a lot of work that people don't understand that goes through this. And unfortunately, the Union Pacific is like working with the national government, basically. Federal government, it's hard to get a hold of anybody and difficult. So, last but not least, we are working on estimated costs, which we are anticipating significant increases. Right now, I don't have the full cost for both projects. I do have updated cost on the north phase with traffic signals, railroad crossing upgrades that we are required to pay our portion of the railroad crossing upgrade. That portion alone has increased 25% from last year. Obviously, this is based on an estimate that was done recently, a let in St. Croix County. Concrete has increased greatly. Unfortunately, this is a concrete project. Storm sewers concrete, curb and gutters concrete, and pavement concrete. So like I said, everything's rising. Maybe it'll fluctuate and come back down by the end of the year. We don't know that, but we can only anticipate the cost increasing. So due to that, I'm looking at obviously our budget and what we carry over into next year, and we did have some money set aside that we would like to, that was allocated for these projects set aside for next year. So hopefully we can put a little bit more into that. The B project that is scheduled for this year, we have completed the pavement design for this project. We are proposing a 4.5-inch thick asphalt pavement. There is pretty significant base underneath that roadway. We will be pulverizing the existing roadway completely, blading it, and then putting 4.5 inches of new asphalt from Packer Drive to Double B. We are looking at installing a bypass lane by the Ellsworth Creamery. When this was approved back in 2020, it was a requirement that we required, and at that time, the city of Menominee didn't have the money to fund it. The city has agreed to pay for it. We are estimating approximately $100,000 to create this bypass lane, which would be going northbound. So if somebody's turning into the Ellsworth Creamery, you can go around them on the right-hand side. That's due to the significant amount of traffic on this road, and we felt it was warranted for safety.
That's right into where you go into that, their little shop.
Yeah, their shop.
They're busy.
So like I said, now is the time to do it. The city actually has a TIP district there, so they have the money for it. and they have agreed to it. With the bill. So we're looking at, Isaac is working on the, updated estimate, as well as, we're gonna try to get some, bid proposals out to get this work done by late summer, early fall. We would be constructing the bypass internally here with our own forces. So like I said,
We're doing the blacktop.
what, I haven't decided on that yet. We are probably gonna bid it out and see what costs come in at. Right now, our workload is, I don't know if we're gonna get all this work done that we have internally. This is the season where we get a lot of vacation requests from employees, so it's difficult to get all the workload done that we have with the amount of employees we have. So we do have to outsource some of it. And fortunately, we are gonna look at this. We do have a budget to meet, so that's where if I can save money here and put it elsewhere, we'll do that, so.
Find them that if they were.
That's true. Maybe.
I can't take in the winter either.
No, I think I'm saying this is a good reason to do it in the county.
I know, right?
Well, I heard if you wanna pay for their vacation days, they don't have to take them.
They always remind me that we're doing the same work, that 80 individuals used to do 25 years ago. And we're down to 36 or 38, field employees. It
How
used to be
much-
80,
How
now
much
we're down
do
to
you have to
38.
save the blacktopping Highway B being so close to the plant as compared to up on B by Sanford? That'd be substantial.
Pretty significant due to the trucking cost.
You
So
probably
on
don't-
average, it can vary from $8 to $10 a ton usually extra for us to travel
Okay.
in various parts of the county. Here it might be at $2 extra. So,
But at the same time, when you put that out, they know that.
oh yeah,
They're not charging much for it.
correct. Yep. And that B project, like I said, it does have LRIP funds, so we have approximately almost $500,000 of state funds that will be, once it's complete, we will ask for reimbursement from the state. Yeah, from Packard Drive to Double B.
So why are you doing that like so late in the season? Is this the way it fell in the scheduling?
So we had, obviously that road is our most heavily traveled road. We did go through the pavement design pretty significantly. We wanted to make sure what we were doing on that road is gonna last. So that is the reason for the delay is,
Okay.
How hard, do we anticipate the harvest to be on that road? I would assume it's gonna be completed roughly around harvest time or before.
I guess my plan is to try to get it done before that September
But I guess
15th.
it's hard to get.
Yeah, and I don't know, that's, harvest time is usually around that time, I think, but
October
soybeans
start.
start.
that's what we're planning, is try to get it done before that,
Yeah,
so. And if we get no rain, there won't be a harvest, so I don't know what.
Well, they got a lot of water on that.
Oh, they do. We did have, 2 bridges, I don't know if, you recall, but we submitted applications for BIL funding. We actually got those 2 projects awarded. 2 bridges, one's a total replacement, that's that P-17-936, that's on County Road Q, north of Knapp. It's a narrow bridge, it's a deteriorated bridge that needs to be replaced. That actually got funded 100%. So we're anticipating that, I believe it was right around that 400 to 500,000 range. With design, everything is 100% paid for. Construction is currently scheduled for 2026. I'm in the process of signing the agreement with the state to get it started sooner than later. so we can start getting the design process started. The other bridge, got 80-20 match, for a rehabilitation project on the Irvington Bridge on County Road B is what we call it in the Red Cedar River. That will be consisting of a mill and an overlay on the bridge deck, rehab work to the approaches, new guardrail, scour countermeasures. So we do have some channel scouring along the piers, that are in the water. So all that work will be completed. That cost is right around 700,000. And we would have to pay 20% of that. So it's a good opportunity. Like I said, we actually, I don't have this in here because it just came out, yesterday or the day before. But solicitations for the next cycle of BIL funding and bridge replacement just came out, for 2026 through 2029. And I believe there's approximately a half a dozen bridges that qualify for either replacement or rehab. I don't know if the funding is going to be 100%, 80-20. At a minimum, it's going to be 80-20. So that's not including just the county. That's town bridges. Everything that we oversee would be eligible. So that application process will be started here shortly and due in October. So there'll be more information to come on that. Some county maintenance projects. I just wanted to obviously double back on the previous discussion we had with some roads that didn't fare too well this spring and winter. We put a list together of some roads that we either need to do something or we turn them into gravel. It's getting to that point. Double V is not on here. I know everybody keeps harping to me, even our own employees, that we got to do something with Double V. But Double V is scheduled for next year, hopefully, pending the budget. But I have proposed that to be done next year. So of that 8.27 miles, County Road K is one section south and north of 29. That is, we would be proposing to put an overlay on that. Currently, just I hate to say it, kick it down the road another 10 years. But that's the cheapest solution we have right now to try to get something on that road. There's landmines everywhere on that. I don't foresee it making it through the winter. We are looking at County Road H south of Rock Falls too, with the pulverize and repave. We did replace some culverts on that road. There was 3 culverts that we replaced. We're looking at pulverizing and repaving that. And then the last one is Double B from 12 to 25, looking at possibly pulverizing and repaving that. With that work, we're anticipating $1.1 million just to do that 8.27 miles of roadway. That's just for the asphalt. What we're looking at is, I'm not going to jump on anything until I see what County Road B comes in at, and we did anticipate a little bit increase in cost due to the change in asphalt thickness. So I did put in our budget approximately $1 million of extra general maintenance for pothole patching and all that. So I got to look at the overall financials before I jump into anything at this point in time. So I just want you to be aware of that. Any questions on any of the project updates, engineering? I don't know if Isaac wants to kind of just give his 2 cents on anything.
They painted 72, right?
Okay.
Quite a lot wider than normal. Yeah, they had it.
Yeah, so the new standard is a 6-inch line instead of a 4-inch line. So the state is actually doing that starting to do that process. Our County Road B project for next year will have that 6-inch line. It's all for the autonomous vehicles. So that's the new standard going forward. So if Isaac has anything to add to that?
Other, yeah, some other engineering items between you and Brent, you guys talked about the V and B projects. And B pretty thoroughly, but I've just been assisting with those, on V, did the curb and gutter staking and the curb design, for that project and coordinated with Harmon and Oz, trying to get, them in there, for pulverizing and the curb installation. On B, like Dustin said, just worked on the design of that turn lane, for the creamery. And then coordinating with the city on that as well. Some other things I guess we didn't talk about, there's town estimates, and coordinating some of the townships around for their, summer projects. It's been pretty busy the last month and a half, with estimates, for our township. Last week, went to the Wisconsin Highway Commissioners Association, Summer Road School. So, it was a 3-day conference. So there's, lots of things that, at the conference, but picked up some good information on stormwater design, some new tools and stuff with exercises, culverts, things like that. And got to meet a lot of the other, county, commissioners and engineers from the area. So, that was good experience for me. And then, yeah, other things, just, sizing some culverts for replacement, some of the larger culverts, that we're trying to replace this year. The utility permits and driveway permits are kind of on. Other than that, yeah.
Yeah,
Brent hit on everything.
we got a lot of work, for the towns this year, so a lot of crack filling, spray patching, paving, crack filling. There's a lot of work to be done. So like I said, we got a lot of work on our plate, and fortunately, it's, our window is, closing every day, so get it all done.
If it ever rains, we should have more days for it.
True. We just got to put more water on our roads now, just to keep the dust control down.
That was a question on like you like grind that and pave it almost in a week, or how do you?
Yeah, that would be the intent. Correct.
So on your cement highways, with all of those buckling gets hollowed, do they ever put any expansion joints in there to kind of give them a little room, or they don't, it's just 1,000 layer?
Let 'em buckle.
Let 'em buckle.
Yep. Yeah, unfortunately, there's a lot of stuff we out of the control, and they don't like to put expansion joints in.
'Cause even like your bridges have a little expansion joint there, and,
They usually compress and then they're done. So a lot of times they,
Really?
even on bridges, they compress. They compress. A lot of shifting going on. We'll jump into the equipment. I submitted, or Dan actually submitted, revised build specifications for 2024 model pickup trucks, ranging from 1,500 all the way up to 1-ton models. The state spec for Chevy pickup trucks, they actually came out, the pricing as well as the purchase dates, where you can actually order a truck, a standard work truck. So I took the initiative based on our February meeting. We did have approval to purchase 3 3,500 series work trucks. But at that time, I didn't have the pricing. So I was waiting for the pricing to come out, so I wasn't sticker shocked and say it's $80,000 for a truck. There's no way I would pay that much, but through the state contract, out of Napleton Chevy dealership, in Columbus, the state contract, those 3,500 series models came in at $50,494, which I thought was a very, very good price for a 1-ton model truck. Mind you, this is a plain drain work truck. It's got painted bumpers. That's pretty generic, like kind of like our fleet trucks that facilities has, but these would be crew cab trucks.
Pretty close to what we
Yeah, originally I was like
48.
46,
Yeah,
47, somewhere around there,
yeah.
yeah. But they did go up. The unfortunate thing is we have no known delivery date. But Napleton did put our three trucks in the order to get it processed, for 2024. Hoping we get them this year. Who knows? I've heard other counties are still waiting a year to get their trucks. So I don't know if
So,
they'll be 2025 models, who knows? But this price is locked in.
yeah. So I just got probably a dumb question, but, so to go to a lot somewhere, okay, where you identified a 2,500 or 3,500 truck that's, you've gone and looked at it, just like we all do, go buy something. We can't just be approved to go buy that piece of equipment, like now.
If I presented it that way, if we wanted to just go on the lot and say, hey, we're gonna go buy a half-ton pickup, you guys give me the approval to do it, no matter what the cost is, I guess, but
No,
I don't-
they're not, I think, you know, probably not.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm just asking, cause it seems like we need them like right now.
years
Yeah.
ago, like the three
Like
commissioners
like
ago used to do
yesterday.
that.
Yeah, I drove home.
We should just drove it here.
You know, and,
They must have known, would they?
just observing as I drive around the different dealers and stuff, there's a few sitting around, and I didn't know if that was, if there's a state mandate that says, you know, state funds are involved, I get that process. You can only do this, you know, you can't buy
So the understanding that I have, and I have not looked into it, but we would not necessarily get a municipal discount. We wouldn't get taxed on it, but we would not necessarily get our municipal discount. So we get like, could vary about $10,000 of municipal discount right off the MSRP. Going through a state contract.
Yeah, I just, you know, I guess you know, I'm sorry to interrupt, but just trying to get this all processed in my head. And I've worked with state and federal enough to know that, how that process works, but, you know, if there's a 2,500 pickup sitting, you know, 14 miles from here or less, you know, and it meets the requirements that we need, got 80,000 miles and we want 5 years out of that thing, you know, to move staff around or whatever we gotta do. And it's $31,000, you know, and, we could maybe get it for 29 or something. That's a better number than 50, to me. But maybe not for the longevity or what goes with it, I don't know. Just asking. Yeah, yeah. I guess I'm just, we talked about this and it's like, well, hopefully we'll get it in 25 or 26. And then earlier I heard 3 trucks are gone now. So I'm like, can we put a Band-Aid on it? And I know none of us really want to Band-Aid things, but sometimes you have to, you know, just like on your house. But just curious.
How dire is it that you don't have these other two pickups? And I totally understand what Mark's saying.
Yeah, I'm just trying to
I
help
guess
you out. you
my
know, ask
my
you a question.
personal opinion is we had too many pickups in our fleet.
Oh, okay.
That's not to say we don't need pickups. I
Yeah.
mean, when we lose 3 of them, and due to the frames are so bad that
Yeah.
the frame is ready to collapse, we don't want to put an employee in that.
No.
But yes, we got to have a backup in plan. We got to have
Yeah.
a backup plan, and we've tried to go on the lot and
Yeah, no, I'm not,
look and see if we can buy something.
yeah, Dustin, I'm not
They don't
accusing
want to
anybody.
sell it to the government is what it boils down to. They want to sell it to the private sector currently. they can make more money on it. I mean, they won't even give us time of day if we call a dealership. I'm not saying locally here, but we've called some of the work truck, lines.
Yeah.
Like model trucks that are sitting on the lot, and they won't even give us time of day if they're spoken for. That's all they tell us. I mean, like I said, we could go on the lot potentially and look, or we could buy something used, we could do something.
No, I'm not,
I think right now we have the fleet that we can get by with for now.
yeah,
I'm
I'm certainly not at pointing a figure that people aren't doing that or whatever, you know, I was just curious, I was more the opposite way. Can we get creative to help you get what you need here? More
Yep.
Where I'm coming.
Yep. I'm pushing these guys to use our single axles and whatever, if they need to pull a trailer, hook it up to a single axle.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't like having trucks sit back room. Put them to use. I mean, even if we have to take a single axle, I hate to say it, out on a job site for a mode of transportation, if that's what it boils down to right now, that's what we'll have to do, but obviously there's a fuel cost to it, but yeah.
I just don't like buying them.
Oh, yeah, look, if we can buy
That I don't
local, I
like,
would love to do that.
What do you do?
That's how,
What do you do? You gotta look at the taxpayer's pocketbook.
yeah, exactly.
Yep. Yeah, and unfortunately Chevy's the only one that has pricing and is taking orders.
Is that right?
Ford is taking orders, but they don't have a price.
Hmm.
Dodge is doing the same thing, so it's like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do what I can do to get something here. When, who knows? Obviously Dan mentioned that, the equipment, on the Wisconsin surplus generated approximately 67,000. ATV, UTV signing update. So, we ordered the signs, through Rent-A-Flash. That's the contractor that makes majority of our signs, Rent-A-Flash, and usually the jail over in Portage. But Rent-A-Flash was low bid, for these signs. We had to order 50 signs. As you can see, the one on the left is all Dunn County trunk highways or ATV routes unless posted. Those will be posted at all of the border roads coming into the county. So like County Road U, I, M up at Sand Creek, all the way around the border of the county. Pretty similar to what Barron, Pepin, they all have that. This is the state standard signs, so we have to have that special ordered. Those no ATV traffic signs will be posted on every intersection and the ends of B by 40 and 29. Obviously ATVs can cross B, but they cannot go down B per what was approved. So we will have to have a sign at each intersection. So 50 signs total. That was just under $2,000 just for the signs. I have spoken to the ATV clubs. They are responsible for paying for the signage. They will generate the money or get it or currently have it to pay for it. I'm anticipating, from what I was told, it may not even be end of June now to get these signs up. It might be early to mid-July, due to the getting the signs from the vendor. We're doing everything we can. I've even harped at our sign individual employee to try to see if we can push them a little bit more, but it's that time of the season. So fortunately, we're just next one in line.
So when you put up these signs, you have to get a locator first before you
Yes.
can go in the
Yeah.
ground, and
Yeah, we will have to do a locate for each location.
that'll be charged to those people then?
Correct. Depends on who you ask. And I'm yes, I'm gonna say yes. From what I was hearing, that's what it's supposed to be. Is
So.
they're not open till the
On
signs
Red
are up.
Cedar Bridge at 22 there's a sign says no ATV on the bridge. Is that gonna come down then? Can
Yes.
they-
Yeah, in speaking to the ATV Association, they want to keep the signs up where the actual detour routes are signed currently. Obviously, there's a cost to remove it. They don't want to pay for that. Plus, they're kind of waiting to see if this is going to be a permanent thing before we tear them down, I guess. But they still have their map of where the actual routes are, and they would like people to utilize that as much as possible. So it makes sense. I mean, if they can use the planned routes and whatever access from their property to get to the planned route, that's what they would prefer. But like I said, we're probably, hopefully, maybe here at the end of June, but I can't guarantee that. So. The 2022 highway operations annual report. Obviously, you'll be seeing this at the county board meeting as well. But I just wanted you guys to see the first hot off the press copy. So a lot of this is kind of a recap of what I've done last year, previous years. But obviously, county board members, not all are the same year after year. So just give them a little bit of background. Obviously, we have 425 miles of roads. We have 51 employees. How many shops we have, what we do work for, kind of just all of our roads, all of our bridges, what projects we did.
So is every supervisor going to get a copy of this year, like a hard copy, or are you just going to?
I guess I would hand it off to Chris when she posts the meeting stuff.
Just kind of like... Okay.
I'm trying to reduce our printing as much as possible, so it's probably electronic.
There are some that get a paper.
Yeah.
A couple of things.
Larry
Really?
does.
He does.
Okay. Didn't know that.
You're gonna request one?
No, I'm good. Once I get it from my way, I like this.
But yeah, I just went through like the list that we did. So we did 10.7 miles of roads last year, approximately $3.6 million altogether. Just kind of show which roads we did, each one cost. Show the H project that had an 80-20 cost share there north of Elk Mound. 2 bridges that we replaced last year that were contracted work. We didn't technically replace them, but one on K north of Connorsville, and then one on Q just north of Knapp. This one on Q is just north of the one that qualifies for replacement that we got awarded funding. So we'll have 2 bridges replaced within half a mile of each other.
So that Highway H project, that money you get like every 2 years then? Not every year you get a project approved.
It's not guaranteed. So
No.
yeah,
Can you apply every year, or is it a cycle?
no, it's a biennium cycle. So like I said, that'll be coming up here this year that we can apply for projects for the next, what is it, 5 years?
Any idea, like what your primary project would be?
So we can only apply for, well, I shouldn't say that, that's changed now, but predominantly it's our heavier traveled roads, our collectors, that have the best chance to get awarded. So there's a long list, like our Bs and Ms. I mean, the ones that have the most traffic on are typically collectors. Show some pictures. Nick always tells me pictures are worth 1,000 words, but there we go. There's the bridges that got replaced. Go through a list of our maintenance costs. I just want you to be aware, obviously, the audit is, I think it's complete for highway. I don't know that for sure. But obviously, these numbers are based off of the annual year-end book that was completed by financial staff. So mind you, I'm taking their word for it, I guess, with some of these costs, and hopefully it is true and correct. but that's the cost that we had, approximately $2.2 million worth of county maintenance. As you can see, what is broke down there and where it all went. So
Is the spray patching in there someplace? Where do you actually put that?
that is under our patching and overlays.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so that will be in that cost.
Litter pickup is 36,000.
I saw that too.
Majority of that is based on our fees to dispose of this
Really?
garbage pickup, tires, whatever,
Yeah.
we to dispose of it. That's what majority of it is. And I know I've always gotten asked what surveillance is, so I try to put a little trolling during the storm event or cleanup. So if we have a severe storm that comes through and trees are knocked down, we put that under surveillance. So winter maintenance was a increase above our 5-year average of 1.4 million. Typically, it's right around that one. Well, hard to explain what the 5-year average was these last previous years because they were pretty significantly lower than average. So traditionally, it's right around that 1.3. So it was an increase from previous years. Just went through a whole list of labor, equipment, materials, how many tons of salt, sand were used. Obviously, the brine we're trying to push brine as much as we can. So that's a pretty significant increase from previous years. And hopefully we can see more of that going forward once we can get our trucks outfitted with the tanks to actually put it down. So salt prices obviously went up 8% from the previous year, and we're anticipating, I can't recall what it was this year. We got the contract, I want to say it was like $94, $95 a ton. So it went up again, which it always does.
You always hear about these environmentalists. Have you ever gone out in the ditches and take a sample of how much salt is actually accumulated in the ditches?
No, probably don't want to.
Probably not. I just haven't.
That was just open the door.
The stuff grows perfectly fine in the ditches. So yay high.
We have never done it, but
Salt. You get a job done there, and then the grass wouldn't grow, and you.
yeah, there you go.
It grows quicker.
Never thought of that. We gotta have grass to spray it on though. It's a direct contact. This is the list of equipment, $1.2 million worth of equipment that we purchased, and there's just a few of the pieces of equipment that we purchased. I didn't show all the plow trucks. That's just one of the 2 that we got. Obviously, the skid steers all look the same.
They're all tracked.
5. Yeah. And I don't like to advertise, but unfortunately, that picture shows it. So, went through a list of our pavement conditions. Obviously, you guys have seen this before, but I just wanted the full county board to see it. List of our pavement ratings, which I believe I explained last year. We stick all of our money into those roads that are the ratings of 1 and 2s and 3s and 4s. Fortunately, that blue line is going to that blue box is going to eventually come down. That's what we need to try to work on as much as we can too. So, as you can see, there's a lot of blue. Looking ahead, our 5-year budget that was approved, and like I said, it changes from day to day based on cost. So that 2024, Chris will probably have information with the whole budget and all that, but that has increased significantly for 2024 based on our B project. This is only a portion. of that is the overall, yes. Yes, that is just showing what we would have to, for the B projects at least. Yeah. Obviously, just to wrap it up, the 2022 budget was approximately a 14% increase from 2021 at 15 million. There was excess revenue and above and beyond that I didn't include with that. But that was what we started with at 15 million. The vehicle registration fee generated 787,000, which was utilized for our general county maintenance. It goes into our county maintenance budget. I can't say it's directly paying for seal coating, crack filling, pavement. It's all of our general county maintenance. But that's traditionally is our bigger ticket items, is our seal coating, crack filling, or pavement repairs. But other than that, well, like I said, we're trying to find ways that we can reduce costs by herbicide spraying, any type of brining that we can do. And like I said, we're trying to offset it as much as we can. But we do have rising costs that are out of our control at times. So I don't know if you had any questions. There was a few things that I added into this that what I have that I sent you from previous. So just so you're aware of that, I did add some bridge information. The vehicle registration fee. I know that I will always get a question on that, so thought I'd add it in there.
So next Wednesday's meeting is going to be long. Wednesday.
If nobody asks a question, it won't be.
On this, bridge aid, what's the difference between like 100% being financed by the state and 80%? Is it the need or what's the criteria?
So traditionally, the program was an 80-20 match. That's traditional. They have excess BIL funding. So, and there's such a need right now for bridge replacements throughout the entire state. So they're trying to utilize as much money as they can. So all bridge replacement projects got 100% funding throughout the state. Not just Dunn County, but the entire state. So the rehabilitation ones did not. They got the traditional 80-20. So
down there in Irvington.
Yep. This next cycle, I don't know if it's going to be 100% match. It might go back down to that 80-20, like traditional.
At least we got one that's 100%.
Yep. It's nice when you don't have to budget for it.
Oh,
Right? Well, you do, but it's got to be matching revenue and expense. But yeah, we can get a bridge replaced for the entire state of Wisconsin, federal government paying for it. We'll do that. Unfortunately, I'd like to do more, but they have a list that we can only do, so that qualifies. Looking at our January through May financials, we are still projecting a budget surplus, that far right, 2.6 million. I want to just reiterate that $2.6 million does include our Wisconsin surplus sales. So their crushing equipment that generated 918,000 plus our 67,000. I don't know if that 67,000 is in this yet. But we can account for almost $1 million roughly in that number. It is shown as our operational piece. I do want to use that equipment. I want to use it for purchasing equipment. I do have my suspicions that when the BIL funding is gone, I think we're going to have to be looking at utilizing more fund balance to purchase equipment going forward instead of using the BIL funding. So like I said, there is a budget surplus that we're projecting. obviously with the B projects, that we are anticipating costing more next year. Like I said, I want to get everything we can get done this year and carry forward some money into next year for our B projects as much as possible. As of right now, I would beg to say that we're going to need about $2 million more for our B projects.
Just because of like a year delay.
Our portion, of
about
2
a-
million, or,
Yes, about a 25% increase. Just in
And part of
concrete.
that,
Yeah, so originally I had no cost on what
Oh,
our
okay.
portion of the railroad was.
That cost is already there, but it just.
Yeah. That generated, that was about $200,000 increase. And like I said, we're generating this estimate on one project that just let here in, I believe it was May. And it was a very, very significant increase in concrete cost. Mind you, there is a opportunity that we can apply for additional funds through the state on our B portion south, not north, but B portion south, which I'm waiting for that estimate to be completed by the design engineers prior to me submitting a budget request increase for additional funds. So that would be an 80-20 match. So obviously we would still have to pay 20% of those additional costs. But yeah, the B North one, that is all local funds, and then once the project is done, we get reimbursed $1 million from the state. So like I said, that cost has jumped as well as the B project south has jumped.
So the, railroad crossing sign or whatever. But there currently can't be reused.
No. So they are paying for all of the signal crossings, like all the railroad is. We have to
That's
pay.
how you just said that we had.
So
And that was like,
so there's one.
what if we say you can't run your railroad?
Good luck.
Teasingly say that, you know what I mean?
So there's one additional cross arm that has to be put in for the southbound turn lane.
Yeah, okay.
So that is our cost. That was per the Commissioner Railroads. They basically dictated what portion the Union Pacific pays for and what we pay for.
I remember you talking.
So there's one crossing that we have to pay for, cross arm, and we have to pay for 9% of the approach repairs. So they have to pick up the other 91% and add, sorry. But we have to pay 9% of it, and the overall cost comes out to about $200,000 that we have to pay for that railroad crossing upgrade.
Yeah.
Traffic signals, like I said before, it's all in the concrete.
Yeah.
That's where the increase is in the concrete. And original estimate was right around that $50-some a yard, and right now it's at 80. Based on that one project that was bid out in St. Croix.
and
So,
we talked about this when we were doing the but, your smart, if the road was there first, then the railroad is the first to us. But if the railroad was there first, we defer to the railroad.
I know it's far more. I know it's stuff that's far more complicated. Just because of.
Yep.
Oh, that I.
laws. Right?
yeah. Yeah, and like I said, there's a lot of stuff. It's hindsight that the North project we couldn't have done last year or this year just because of the Union Pacific crossing. the south portion, that would have got a lot more complicated if we would have been able to do it this year due to the traffic control. Everything was tied together. That's where the complication, we would have had extra design costs, we would have had additional funding that we would have had to put in this year. Obviously, if we could all look back at it now, I would have loved to have paid extra for that change to do the south portion this year.
Hindsight is always great.
But yeah, and we were kind of thinking, well, the rate of inflation is gonna stabilize,
Yeah, right,
but,
yeah.
and like I said, we're hanging our hat on that one project estimate. So if it's at 80, we're estimating, and all of a sudden it comes in at 60, cost saving. But if we can approach it to the DOT that this is what it's costing us, and we can get match money, have the money there, I'd rather have the money there than not there.
Yeah.
So if there's a surplus on the backside after it gets bid out, it goes back into the pot. Doesn't. So. But yeah, like I said, it's unfortunate, but we'll see what happens, I guess. All right, where's my purchase gone? This is our expenses. I guess I just want to note, from the previous month, that our, capital expenditures, column that we had, we actually projected based on a, actual purchases. So we did not actually project our total capital budget. If that makes sense. So we had allocated 1.2 million for capital purchases. That's our equipment purchases for this year. The previous months, we actually projected that, we didn't project that 1.2 million for spending. We projected based on actual. So our budget surplus previously was almost 3.9, if you recall. So this month it's actually 2.6. So our projection, surplus projection, is not staying consistent. It went down, obviously, and it was due to that 1.25 million for capital expenditures. We didn't project the 1.2 million. We based it on projections of what was being spent at the time. And I believe, it was 150,000. That's what we were projecting, was 150,000. So there was basically a $1.1 million swing. So I just wanted to point that out. If we look back at previous, I don't have that here, but we have corrected that, and the projection that we show includes that 1.2 million of capital projection. So we have righted the ship on that, and like I said, we're still looking at a $2.6 million budget surplus currently. This is our revenue. Pretty straightforward, I guess, but we spent 6 million of the 16. 17 million.
What is a warehouse inventory? Or, yeah,
So that's our materials that are inventoried.
okay,
So such as like Crafco block or concrete supplies, stuff like that. It goes in,
So you
comes
buy
right
it?
back out.
okay.
Goes
Okay.
into warehouse inventory.
Okay.
I don't know if Sarah's there, if she can explain better than me.
Oh,
It
that's
goes
all
into there, and then it goes out to wherever it gets charged
All
to
right.
account, like if we're using it for county maintenance.
I am here, Dustin, if you need some further clarification on that.
I'm good, thank you.
All right, thank you.
We'll have to look at our paper.
Well, it's,
I can see that.
either way, my report is done for the highway, commissioner's report.
Right. Thanks, Dustin. Any other questions? Dustin? Number 7, consideration actions to take by the committee, approval of vouchers.
I move we approve.
Is there a second?
So Brian?
Yeah.
Gary second? Or Gary?
Jerry.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the vouchers. Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
All right.
B, real pilot program.
So I spoke to this, from previous at last month's meeting. The the Wisconsin Towns Association, WTA, has requested, the counties to, look into the possibility of the Towns Association overseeing the LRIP program, which is the Local Road Improvement Program through the DOT. So there's allocated funds that get allocated to each county. Currently, the county oversees the program on behalf of the towns and the villages. So there's a certain dollar amount that comes in for each town. We do the administering of it. We don't actually physically see the money, but we help out with the application process for the towns. We submit it to the state. Once the project is complete, we do the reimbursement request to the state. All the money goes to the towns through the state. Nothing comes through us. So we don't budget for it. We do get administrative fees from the DOT to administer this program on behalf of the towns and villages. It's a $7,000 per biennium for that oversight. And I was telling Chris yesterday, if we added up our actual time, the county is probably losing money. For how much we spend working with the towns. There is a lot of rotation, obviously, with clerks and chairs, and it's a learning process almost every cycle.
But I think it'd be a lot more consistent, have it done by the county than each township trying to, I think it'd be a big,
Like the
problem.
county control more than impressed with.
So that's why we're doing a pilot. So there was 21 counties that have agreed to do this pilot. So the whole west central counties, includes St. Croix all the way over to Taylor County and Trempealeau, Jackson, all of us, Barron. We have elected to at least approach this pilot program, see how it goes. If it takes more workload off us, I'm worth exploring it. There's a lot of other things that we could be doing besides applications and stuff and getting questions and all that. Still here to help. Don't get me wrong. If the town calls me up and has a question, I'm not going to say no. But this contract is between the county, Wisconsin County Highway Association, and the WTA. So basically, the only change that would happen is we would no longer be administering it. We go through the Towns Association. The annual payment that comes to us from the DOT would come to us, and then we would turn it over to the WCHA. And the WCHA would then pay the WTA. Acronyms for everything. So if that makes sense.
So all the other counties have approved this.
This literally came out last week. So I believe I'm probably one of the first ones to actually bring it to the committee for approval. Some are taking it to the full county board since it is a budget item. And that was another thing I was going to actually have Nick and Chris be involved with if it warrants doing that or not, but I've read through it. There's obviously it's all lawyer lingo in here. But the agreement would be to a 1-year pilot with this to see how it goes. It can always come back to us if it doesn't work out.
So the townships don't like that, they don't get their questions answered, are they gonna, what are the options?
The Wisconsin Towns Association has really sold it to, I'm not saying necessarily Dunn County, but the counties around us, that they will have the staff, they will have everything they need, they will have staff on hand to help them with other DOT programs, grants.
They can't even get the clerk for it. Yep. Call them and they say, nope, can't do that. It's like, I have a bad. But, it's curious how that. All pilots.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking is the one issue I do have potentially is losing that relationship with the town. And that's my one concern, and a lot of the concerns we have generally. So hopefully we can still have that relationship. And like I said, I work with a lot of the chairs now, and I'm not going to shut the doors down and say we won't help you. I guess I'm not going to be doing the actual paperwork shuffling that the WTA would be doing. But if there's a question, something simple, yeah, over the phone, I'll help them, whatever.
I get the workload part. I mean, that would be a lot easier. I get that part. I just like the local.
When these projects start,
Communication's a lot better than.
when the whole process starts and when it ends, there is a lot of significant time that goes with it.
And you don't get paid enough.
Correct.
I get it, but I just like the local control more than.
Yep. Well, and I think it's a change for everybody. I think the towns it's going to be a change for them too. They like just calling up or stopping in and say, here, take care of it. And we do. So, I guess it's worth at least trying it for a pilot 1 year. So I guess that's my recommendation is we would sign this agreement and see how it goes.
I move we sign that agreement.
Second. Made second.
All these counties don't agree to it.
From what I've been hearing, I can tell you a lot of the counties around us, they are jumping up and down. They want it.
Just like Dustin will be when we leave.
Am I happy that it's taking a workload off? Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I'm not denying it because every cycle, it's like I'm teaching a new individual, and it's a process.
Can understand that.
And then I get to deal with it when something goes wrong, and I got to ask for forgiveness of the state. So, it does take a lot off my shoulders.
No, I agree.
But
any other discussion? All those in favor?
All right.
Any opposed? Motion passes. 2024 plow truck chassis proposal.
So Dan submitted our spec for tandem axle trucks, plow trucks. These would be 2024 models that we could hopefully get next year. So we're actually behind the 8 ball due to same situation on pickup trucks. They aren't taking orders and they don't have pricing. So we got the okay from dealers around the area that they are ready to take orders and got us some pricing. Some of these they gave us an actual window, like it could vary from 100 60,000 to 180,000. The ones that we have penciled in here are the ones that gave us actual prices. As you can see, Mid-States International gave us a cost of 153,894.68, which is approximately $5,000 more than it was this year for that same truck. It was 148 roughly last year, and it's up to 153. From what I was told, that number could be high. It actually could go down. Not up, but they tell me it could go down, which once they see the other bid proposals, they ain't gonna come down. But the only other one that we actually got solid numbers on was from Nuss Truck out of Eau Claire for a Mack. Obviously, you can see the difference there, 170,000 versus 153. Mind you, this is just the truck and chassis, not the plow equipment that goes with it. So you're probably looking at almost another $150,000 for all the plow equipment that goes on it, which we have not bid out currently.
Are most of your trucks that's international now?
Yes.
The one that makes it more convenient as far as filters and everything else, and?
Yes.
I-
We've had good luck with it. I don't care what make model you have. Our biggest issue is our emissions. No matter if it's international, Mack, Peterbilt, whatever.
I don't know what this means, but it don't make sense. No hole in the radiator deferred, which makes sense, you know?
We've asked this before.
No,
You were not.
I asked the same question, I couldn't figure that out.
It's a hold the drain. I don't know. It's been in our spec for years and years and years.
International's got more horsepower, more torque. I think it's gonna help us last longer for the job it's doing. I mean, that's what it's designed to do, is be under horsepower and torque mode. Yep. Right?
Yeah, we've gone to the smaller horsepower and torque. We have issues with it. Not making the hills in Dunn County when you're pushing snow and you got 15 tons of salt on the back of your truck.
Sure.
So that is the biggest motor that they can put in a truck for that particular series.
Get some tuner kits for them and.
How many are we looking at? Four?
We had bid for, the capital improvement request that I had was for 3. But I'm looking at it as a possibility if I don't even know if we can get 3. I don't even know if we can get 4. I don't know what the hell we can get personally. Right now, like I said, these might be 2025 models for all I know. We just can't get them. They can't give you a time. And mind you, like I said before, none of this is paid for until the truck and chassis hits the ground. So we are not allocating $153,000 in this budget to pay for it. It's once they hit the ground is when we pay for it. We're not putting the money up right now.
Does the motion have to be for like 3 or 4, or does it have to have any number there? Or what? Well.
I
might
guess
as well do it right and say 4.
Sure, that's what I meant.
the way I was looking at it is obviously we have that money that we got for a crushing operation.
Okay.
If worse comes to worse, I would take additional fund balance to pay for it
Okay.
outside of that.
Just making sure.
Yep.
Okay, that was good. Is there a motion to?
I'll make that motion that we go with 4.
Motion been made second, Mid-State, I take it, what you wanted.
Correct. International.
Yep, all right. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor of going with Mid-State for 4 trucks?
Right.
Opposed? Motion passes. Consideration of resolution ordinance recommended by the board. Is that none after that?
Yeah, it's supposed to be none.
Okay.
Sorry, I forgot the none.
The only other thing I was gonna bring up is just a question, but talking about this highway expansion and stuff, is there other people or any interest in going to another county to tour their shop or anything like that? Is there a possibility of that? Would anybody be interested in that or?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Oh, it doesn't have to be anytime soon. I was just kind of wanted to put it out
winter
there.
months would be great. I would like to.
So I did ask, the counties around us that have built new shops, Barron has, Eau Claire's opening up here in July. St. Croix, Pepin, Polk, we're basically surrounded by new shops. Every one of them said, whenever you want, take a tour, let me know. Obviously, we got the open meetings.
Yeah, if everybody wants to go, you know.
Yeah, so that's
I didn't know if
what
anybody-
we'd have to look at. Nick would have to get involved again, and
I just putting that out there.
either that or you just take a tour over there by yourselves, I guess. So, whatever we'd like to do.
I just know if anybody else wanted to.
Yeah, I would.
I
Good to
think,
see.
I think it would be good to see before we get. an idea.
Yeah, and I mean, it doesn't need to be all of them. I mean, go look at Eau Claire and Barron or something. I don't know.
But now, like, Eau Claire's are brand new, everything is brand new. Are some of these, counties just added on shop, or are they all?
Every single one of them is brand new.
Everything.
They're not, like, ours is more, I mean, added on, right?
Yeah, and it would be either a separate building or we would be adding on to the current building. I think separate building would probably be the cheapest, but.
Just an idea if you want.
Yep.
I didn't know. I just wanted to put it out there because we did want to start that. All right. Otherwise, I have nothing else. Next meeting is July 12th. And we're gonna be officially adjourned.
Oh, yeah, that's right.